Hello again, friends. Welcome back to Grow and Sew here on Stream of Consciousness, and welcome back to my craft room. If you're just seeing this for the first time, welcome. If we've met before, welcome back. This week I have some sewing updates to share with you, and I just want to share some things I learned about myself along the way, especially dealing with emotions that come about knowing when I'll need to make alterations. But first, let's get settled in. I encourage you to get comfortable during our time together. Let's get cozy and let's slow down a little bit. So today I'm wearing my favorite hoodie. I've got a lap blanket. I've got some extra water here. So let's release some tension in those shoulders. I know I tend to hunch over whenever I'm focused at the computer. Oh, my neck just popped really bad. So this is a good reminder for me as well. And a good way to identify if you've got a lot of tension in your shoulders is to scrunch them up real close to your ears. Breathe in. Hold it for a second or two. And relax as you breathe out. I also like to roll my shoulders back 2 or 3 times. Maybe forward. All right. And let's take 3 big deep breaths. So 1 to let go of the things we can't control. 1 to remember the things we can control. And 1 to bring us to the present moment outside of our own heads for a little while. There. I feel better already. So today I would like to share some progress with you on what I call my Joanna dress. And this is for Disney bounding for an upcoming trip to Disney World. And for those who don't know, Disney bounding is a fun activity where you dress in the color schemes of your favorite characters. And so this dress here is based on Joanna, who's the sassy lizard from the Rescuers Down Under. She's the one that goes around stealing eagle eggs. And so it is a T-length summer dress made from jersey knits, so it's stretchy. It's also got a jersey knit lining, also very stretchy. And this design is special to me because I was very intentional about the material choices. So the lining, much of the lining is made of a moisture-wicking sports fabric. And it's also got some sun protection, and that'll really come in handy in the Florida heat and humidity. Now this pattern that I used for this is an oldie but goodie. I first used it to make a galaxy print dress for the 2017 eclipse with the path of totality across the United States. Remember when that was a thing? Yeah. So I figured I'd pull it out again and reuse it. So unfortunately, pulling out an old pattern is almost worse than pulling out a new pattern. Not only is there the potential for mismatched pieces from other patterns, which definitely happened, there's also the expectation that it'll fit right, just like it did last time. Well, my friends, that was not the case here. So I finished stitching these seams on the front when I realized that the front panel was going to be too big, which meant the overall dress was going to be too big. And that was really frustrating. So I unstitched and I restitched both the outer layer and the lining at least twice before I figured out the best way to go about sizing it and attaching the lining itself to the inside to where there were no raw edges. So the moment I realize I need to alter something or undo and redo some seams, frustration is almost always my dominant emotion. It's sharp and it's fast and it's overwhelming, and I get really bad tunnel vision, focusing mostly on the object of my frustration, like, oh, it's the dress's fault, it doesn't fit, you know. And in these moments, I almost never want to hear about what I did wrong. I usually know exactly what I did wrong right away. I just don't want to hear about it. So, and this is caused by moving to the next step too quickly, or if I sew while I'm hungry, or if I'm rushed to get it done. To summarize, it's because I did not manage my time, energy, or expectations. And I will come to this concept over and over and over again because my life changed once I started managing these three things. In these moments, though, whenever I'm feeling this frustration, my frustration and disappointment just needs somewhere to go. And this past week, I had one of my first experiences where I did not manage my expectations, but I did handle the frustration relatively gracefully. And the outcome of this graceful landing may come as a disappointment to several of you, and it was really a great disappointment to me. My next project after the Joanna dress was going to be my ultimate Disney bounding achievement. I was going to make an Elsa-themed top out of this fabric here. Like, isn't that absolutely perfect? Frozen 2 is one of my favorite Disney movies, and it means a lot to me because it's about coping with change. And I first watched Frozen 2 when coming to terms with my gender and sexuality during the summer of 2020, when, COVID changed things for all of us. It was a lot of change to experience all at once, and the movie helped me accept and celebrate aspects of myself that had been hidden away for so long, parts that I never fully understood until then. And once you know something like that about yourself, you can't unknow it. You can either deny it until you rot, or you can face it. And this fabric is very, very similar to the dress that Elsa wears in her next phase of transformation in Frozen 2. And I was experiencing a transformation in that moment. However, I will not be finishing this top in time for Disney World. And this is for several reasons. One is that I tried to rig a new pattern to be something it wasn't, and I failed. The top just doesn't fit right, and it's going to take some serious engineering to turn it into a top that fits. And I struggled a lot with this realization whenever I found out that the project wasn't going to be as easy as I had expected. My frustration and disappointment were immediately projected at myself in my body. I was pretty cruel to my body in that moment. I thought the top doesn't fit because I have a warped mental image of what my body looks like, and it's my body's fault the top doesn't fit. Well, yeah, my mental image may be a little warped, but I'm pretty sure my attempt to extrapolate a pattern that I'd never used before is the real reason it didn't fit. Right. Secondly, I was running out of time to make adjustments. I did not have time to re-engineer this top and try to make it fit in a way that I liked without cutting corners. There was no time to order more fabric, and every day spent waiting for supplies is a day lost. And third, there is a rule at Disney World where if you're dressed too much like a character that they have for meet and greets, you can get kicked out of the park. So adults are allowed to wear costumes on Halloween, but that's pretty much it. Kids under a certain age can wear them at any time, but the rules for adults are pretty strict, and they are enforced. So from the beginning with this design, I knew I could not make a dress. It would be far too similar to the one that Elsa wears at Disney World. And Elsa's one of my favorite characters, and so much artistic effort goes into making her dresses represent her transformations. So of course I'm going to be salivating at the opportunity to make a dress like hers. My dresses represent my transformations. It's honestly a match made in heaven. How could I pass up that much awesomeness? Unfortunately, it is not a match made in Disney World, which is where I will be. So I tried to adjust the design away from the dress as much as I could. I iterated through jumpsuits, shorts and top combos, etc. I settled on the top and the shorts, but when the top was too small and the shorts were too big, it was just really the last straw. And the last reason is pretty closely tied to the third. A design like this means so much to me. It's such a shame to boil down this meaningful project into something that's practical, that I won't overheat in. And that rules out so much creative opportunity. It's one thing to wear a skater dress based on a lizard with sportswear fabric, but it's another to incorporate obligatory sparkles and white fabric. Plus, it's really friggin' backwards to design an outfit based on an ice queen that is comfortable in 95-degree heat and 99% humidity. At that point, I just decided the design was compromised. So I took a deep breath and I said, I'm not going to do it. And I never expected to feel the relief I felt in that moment. It was warm, with a warm, swirly mix of relief and disappointment and exhaustion and FOMO and resignation. And the next day I wrote about it in my journal and decided to reflect on everything I had accomplished in the last 4 months. My disappointment was really overshadowing these accomplishments, but I'm glad I did it. So in the last 4 months, I have made 2 adorable pairs of overalls, my dungarees. I've made my Joanna dress for Animal Kingdom. I made a completely punk Cruella shirt and 2 crop tops. I tried 3 new patterns, and 2 patterns so old they may as well have been new again. I've consistently set aside 3+ hours every week to work on these projects, along with everything else I've got going on in my life. I learned how to stud my clothes. I learned how to put spikes on my clothes. I took what I learned from the crop tops and I applied it to the Joanna dress. I took what I learned from my TEDx dress and I saw the red flags with the Elsa top as they were happening, and I know what I need to do to make it work. I did 3 self-guided photo shoots with my creations and came out with some amazing photos. That alone, just that list is a lot. That is plenty. That's enough. I give myself permission to stop. So, managing my time, energy, and expectations is something I'm going to be improving upon for the rest of my life. I struggle with it on a daily basis. Sometimes my body doesn't do what I want it to do in a day, what I'd hoped it would do in a day. Sometimes my mind can't do what my body needs it to do. Sometimes the expectations of others encroach on the expectations that I have for myself, and that ends up being its own miserable soup. And preparing for a trip to Disney World has been a huge exercise in managing expectations. I think too often people try to do it all with the little time and energy that they have. And I know for a fact that I can't do it all, so I won't even try to do it all. My energy budget simply will not allow for that. So I have hopes, but no expectations. It's my hope that every bit of joy will come as a pleasant surprise. I sincerely hope to meet Anna and Elsa at Epcot, where I'll be wearing a Lost in the Woods World Tour shirt instead of something homemade. But it would also bring me tremendous joy if we saw Kevin from Up in Animal Kingdom, or if we met Gaston in Magic Kingdom, or Prince Naveen, who I met last time and had no expectations to meet, but it was wonderful. You just never know, and that's part of the magic. So to wrap up here, my next update will be on the other side of the Disney trip. Follow me on Instagram at ithie_max. That's at ITHIE_MAX. There I'll be posting trip updates and brainstorming my next projects. For now though, I'm going to take a break, and you should too. We've all been working hard here. So get some food, find some water, go to bed a little bit early tonight if you can, and stay tuned for more, my friends. Until then, know that I am proud of you, and I can't wait to see you again.